In just a few short days, May 8th is the kickoff to the start of creating the narrative of the alien agenda. Now, this is where it will all start, where people will begin to pick their sides. I'm going to show you two different clips. They're very short. A message from a pastor going to a certain state to get ready and give the messages soon and prepare the people. And a message from someone who is very well known in the ET community. He will be having a major UAP disclosure press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. on Friday, May 8th, 2026, and then May 9th, a workshop for contacting these beings. Listen to both sides here. Now, while doing so, remember that May 12th is the documentary Sleeping Dog, and that focuses on the journalist UAP researcher Jeremy Corbell and his 11-year secret, he says. And then on June 12th is Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. Now, I believe that the Disclosure Day will be a big, key movie that will shake people. I think it will play a really important and key role in all of this, and I think it's going to have more influence than people think or realize. Now, he's already saying that you'll see more fact instead of fiction, fact over fiction, and it's all part of it. Remember that. People are going to have to pick their side soon, because all of this is just the kickoff to what's coming and what's going to come out, and the narratives and stories that they are going to spin. Now, this is good versus evil, light versus darkness. It's coming. Here's the two clips.
I had a friend that sent me a text message. I was in a meeting, a weekend meeting, preaching Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. And he said, Perry, can you give me a call? I have some information that has come to my attention. Of course, when a friend of yours does that you know quite well, you have no idea what information they're talking about. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but there were a large number of pastors that had been invited to go to a certain state to hear some men in the United States government and others share with them a concern that they had. And this particular man, and I'll not name him, and then we may end up doing some teachings with him or having an event at his church. He has a great church. But he said, Perry, what they're about to release, from what we're hearing, there's going to be a release concerning aliens and concerning unidentified flying object spacecraft, that some of the people who were in the meeting were telling us as pastors, you need to prepare your people and you need to get ready to answer them for what you're about to hear being released. And some of it has to do with crafts that have been discovered that are not allegedly a part of our planet, and the materials they're made of are not a part of our planet. Very strange reptilian-looking creatures, and other things that almost sound like something out of a sci-fi movie or an Orson Welles book.
But I think it is an orchestrated perfect storm that could lead to, remember, what the end times people want is Armageddon. I want to remind you that when in 1994 in July, I was with the Crown Prince of Liechtenstein, Prince Hans Albert von Liechtenstein, and he explained to me the reason he was funding the abduction researchers in the United States, like Dr. Mack and Bud Hopkins and David Jacobs and other people, Linda Moon Howe, is that he wanted them to put out the narrative that the aliens were a threat and that we needed to go to war with them, and that they were working on behalf of the devil, and we could have a holy war that would destroy the earth so that Christ would return and save the good Christians. Now, this is what he told me word for word. So this is your eschatological lunatic fringe. Eschatology is the study of the end of the world. And so you have a whole group of those people who are in CIA and are in high places in FBI and government that have that as an article of their faith. But if it comes out in that way, I'm telling your viewers right now, it would be one of the most catastrophic events in human history. If it comes out correctly, it would be one of the most unifying and beautiful events in human history. And that my friends, is what's at stake. It's also why, to be honest with you, we're being very careful to be sure we have a very well done National Press Club event on May 8th, which I hope you can come to and broadcast from there. We only can take 350 people in the ballroom of the National Press Club, but we are going to be able to have people online with us. So we're going to stream the whole thing. Is the Secretary of War. Hegseth happens to be a good friend of someone on my team. So we are going to be getting the correct information to him, and hopefully he can then share that with the Vice President and, of course, with the President. Now, this document, I think I've mentioned this to you.
President.
No, this is the President's briefing document.
Right.
Okay, and everyone can get this, and you should get it and then share it. You can get a PDF version of it, right? If you don't want to get a printed version. And you should get it and then share it with all your friends, neighbors, and your political representatives and others.
Everybody needs to follow the DC event. And why do I, forgive me, need to get my butt to Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, you do. I mean, people need to prioritize being there in person and also being there virtually. Look, we're spending a huge amount of money to put this thing on. We need an army of people, army of light workers sharing that link with everyone all over the world, because we will be banned by the mainstream media. There's no question about it. Now, what we're going to have there are whistleblowers and Green Berets and some other people who have directly dealt with this issue, both the ET end of it, but more importantly, the man-made end of it. And we're going to do a deep dive into the man-made craft, how they've been used illegally, and how much of what people call the UAP phenomenon is a man-made psychological warfare operation. And if the purpose of that is to pull the curtain back on the Wizard of Oz pulling all the levers, scaring the hell out of people, right? Because that's what it is. It's a psychological warfare mind trick. Fortunately, what's also going to come out at the press conference are direct information we've acquired from whistleblowers who are currently operational on programs involved with abducting and transporting children and women using UAPs for human experimentation and other gruesome purposes. So we are going to disclose this with direct people who know about it and have seen it, and I, of course, met with many of these whistleblowers who are currently operation.
Okay, so he's pretty much saying in the rest of this and in his writings that if we use their technology, we will have a green planet and clean energy. And if we welcome them, we will have peace and goodwill on earth, his words. His words were to eliminate oil, coal, gas, resources, energy generation. The elimination of that would be fresh and clean air and water, and the pollution would be better, and fossil fuels. So that's what he's talking about, a green new planet, a world peace. Now remember, they will paint this as a utopia of peace and a peaceful, amazing one world for all. He's pushing fallen angel technology and telling people that if we think of them in a bad way or as demonic entities, it will destroy our whole planet. And remember, the very next day after this conference in D.C., he will be holding his very own workshop on how to contact these beings. I think it's called the CE5 contact. Now, in his writings to the government, it says to contact them and develop a special diplomatic unit for interface with these extraterrestrial civilizations and foster communication and peaceful relations with them. That's what it says, with them. You see the two sides starting, and it will start with this press conference in Washington, D.C., and these two movies or shows, documentaries. One of them is a documentary, one of them is a movie, that will kick it all off as they ready people for their narrative on disclosure. Now, meanwhile, there are several accounts coming out of pastors, preachers, and all that being asked to come learn about what to tell the people and how to prepare the people. So just know where to stand, know what side you're on, stay in the Word, use discernment. That's a big one. Use discernment always, and stay watchful.
All right, so check this out. Listen to what this pastor says that Congressman Eric Burleson told him and a group of pastors on a conference call, all regarding UFOs, UAPs, and NHI and what's coming.
There's only a handful of pastors that are invited to come to a private meeting with a group of men who are connected with the intelligence world that are believers, but are still have very high security clearance. These are legit, true men of God that are still connected to Washington and even this current administration and all branches of military. And they literally told us, we had a sitting congressman, a very well-known congressman from Missouri. He called into that meeting as well, that was just for pastors. And this is what he said. On speakerphone, this sitting, powerful member of Congress said, "Are the pastors listening to me?" I'm getting chills right now because this happened to me. He said, "Are the pastors in the room listening to me?" And I said, "Yes, sir, we are here." And he said, "Listen to me. Go and tell the church they are not ready for what is coming. The narrative that is coming, what they are going to say is going to be like nothing you can even imagine. They are preparing to tell us that they are from another dimension, that they are our creator, and that these beings, these aliens, or whatever you want to call them, they were the ones that seeded us here. There is no such thing as God. Jesus was invented by them. The Bible was invented by them." And begin to just say, listen, prepare the people for what is coming because they're not ready. But he loved us so much. He made sure that he told us exactly the blueprint to study. He said, study the days of Noah. And if you can understand how Noah responded, that's how you're going to have to respond. And I believe what God is doing in the body of Christ right now is getting us ready, because the world is going to have a lot of questions. The question for you is, are you going to be able to answer it?